Welcome back, and congratulations on making it through the course. In this video, we're going to discuss the last 3 units and the course in general. As you look back at the last units of this course, it's important that you recognize how each unit of this section contained information that you needed to understand to appreciate the contents of the next unit you examined. Making these connections will make it easier for you to remember the material when you take the final exam. In Unit 12, you learned that as a business communicator, it is inevitable that you will have to deal with unpleasant messages. You also worked through the elements of a crisis communication plan and how to manage press conferences, activities which are often associated with carrying out a crisis communication plan. These situations involve audiences which are concerned or unhappy about what your business is doing. To handle such situations effectively, a communicator needs a resilient personality and the ability to build strong positive relationships. In Unit 13, you learned about a subject which can help you assess and strengthen the resilience of your personality. The unit also discussed the nature of interpersonal relationships, exactly what you need to understand to create and sustain positive relationships, even when a business is dealing with negative news or a crisis. As a result, you should now recognize the connection between intra and interpersonal communication and negative news. Unit 14 focused on culture and the role it plays in interpersonal and business relationships. Don't forget, culture doesn't only exist on a national or global level. The reason why styles of management is included in Unit 14 is because organizational communication is also something business communicators need to understand if they are to produce effective internal messages, such as to employees or executives. Another time culture can play an important role in business is when people have to work in groups or teams, and this is the subject of Unit 15. The most cohesive groups are long-standing ones comprised of individuals who share the traits and/or attributes that are important to the group. Long-standing groups tend to develop an internal culture of their own. Such groups are usually much easier to manage than groups that have just formed. It should be clear by now that interpersonal relationships are an important part of group dynamics. But also don't ignore the connection between groups and management. You should now be able to make the connection between what you learned about interpersonal relationships to what you learned about the roles of individuals and groups. This is particularly important if your role is in a leadership position in the group. You should also have recognized how important it is for a leader to understand the culture and relationships within the group. The lack of such understanding could lead to dysfunctional meetings or poor teamwork. Now let's talk about the course as a whole and get you ready for the final exam. You should look back over the ways you could and should have absorbed the materials of this course. Being conscious of what you've done will motivate you to prepare for the final exam by using all the resources the course has provided. Of course, rereading the textbook is a great way to prepare. However, because not everyone learns the same way, this course also includes other resources to supplement or enhance what you did. For example, each subunit is presented with introductory information that includes suggestions about exercises that could help you absorb the material better. By rereading the textbook, watching or listening to the media resources, trying the exercises, and watching these videos, you should feel fairly confident in your ability to do well in this final exam. However, one more step you might want to take before attempting the final exam is to try the Workbook study guide. The Workbook study guide has short interactive activities that represent a comprehensive review of the entire course. You will get the most out of the workbook if you complete every single activity, because the interactive elements of the activities will tell you immediately whether your responses are correct or not. This process of selecting and rejecting makes you handle the information in a realistic business context. As a result, the workbook will not only show you what you've learned, it will also reinforce the confidence you want and should have when you take the final exam. With the materials available to you, I have no doubt that you will have success on the final exam. We hope you've enjoyed your time with this course, and best of luck on the final exam.